the dog from nowhere. Goldie was a honey-colored fox terrier with a bushy tail. He was intelligent, curious, and bubbling over with energy. He came from nowhere and attached himself to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones went out for long walks. The sight of a squirrel cracking a nut or the sound of a flock of birds taking off gave him intense joy. He had everything he wanted but a dog. He craved for a fox terrier, but he couldn't afford to buy one. And then, one fine day, Goldie came from nowhere and became his best friend. Goldie belonged to someone else. Mr. Jones knew he should advertise, but kept putting it off.
It's been 3 weeks since Goldie came to us. Have you made an effort to find the owner?
Mr. Jones felt a little guilty and ashamed. Next day, an ad appeared in the Lost and Found column of the local paper. Found: one dog. Owner may recover dog by identifying same. A week passed and nobody came to claim the dog. Then a car bearing an out-of-state license stopped in front of their farmhouse. Mr. Jones was making apple juice and his wife was returning from the orchard with a basket of purple plums. The stranger strode towards them. They noticed that he was tall, a boyish grin lit up his features, and that one coat sleeve hung limp by his side.
I hope you'll forgive my coming unannounced. I've come to you about... Oh, that's fresh apple juice. It smells delicious.
As it was afternoon, Mrs. Jones brought homemade food for all of them. The stranger ate it with great relish. After having lunch, he stood up and patted his stomach.
If I stayed with you long, I'd have a big tummy.
What's your height?
6'2". I'm an infantryman.
Our son was 6. He was on the ship that sank.
I'm sure he left you proud memories. Now, I'll explain why I have come. It's about the dog you advertised.
Oh, the dog.
About 4 weeks ago, I had a flat tire driving through this part of the countryside. I went to call a mechanic, leaving my dog behind in the car. When I got back, the dog was missing. I looked for him, but...
What breed was your dog?
A big honey-colored fox terrier. I would know him instantly, and so would he.
It was then that hope died in Mr. Jones' heart.
He's your dog, I'm sure. I'm very curious to know his name. It's bad luck to change a dog's name. Please call him by his name and let him recognize you. He went with the neighbor's boy, and any minute now he will be coming back. Here he comes. I bet he'll be glad to see you.
The dog started quickly towards the tall man, then stopped and looked at Mr. Jones. Standing between the two, he looked from one to the other, a baffled expression on his face. Then he strode towards Mr. Jones and licked his hand. After an awkward silence, the stranger said,
Oh, there is a resemblance. A remarkable resemblance. But dogs often look alike. The name will tell. Here, Chief. Here, Chief.
The dog's only response was to whimper and press his face against Mr. Jones' outstretched hand.
Not my dog.
He thanked Mr. and Mrs. Jones for their hospitality and left in a hurry.
Fine young fellow. Wonder why he was in such a hurry.
After his car left, Mr. Jones said that the boy reminded him about his son, and that he was so sure that the dog was his when the boy had described him. A week passed by, and when no other claimants appeared, Mr. Jones was relieved.
The problem now is to find his real name.
The same day, a telegram arrived. It was from a distant city and was unsigned. It said, "Try happy,"